Alexander Graham Bell was a Scottish-born inventor, scientist, and teacher best known for his invention of the telephone. Born on March 3, 1847, Bell was fascinated by sound and speech, which influenced his work and research. He received his first patent for the telephone in 1876. Bell's contributions extend beyond the telephone. He also worked in fields such as aeronautics and hydrofoils. Additionally, he was a co-founder of the National Geographic Society and contributed to education for the deaf, inspired by his mother and his wife's hearing impairments. Bell passed away on August 2, 1922, but his legacy continues to impact communication technology today. Alexander Graham Bell grew up in Edinburgh, Scotland. He was born there and spent his early years in Edinburgh with his family before moving to London with his family that valued education. Alexander Graham Bell studied sound. His mother was deaf, which influenced his interest in communication and speech. Later, in 1870, he migrated to Canada with his family, settling in Brantford, Ontario, before eventually moving to Boston, Massachusetts, in United States, where he would conduct much of his work on the telephone and continued his work and made significant contributions to communication technology. Alexander Graham Bell's education was significantly influenced by his family background. He attended various schools, including the Edinburgh Royal High School. He began his formal education at a young age and had a particular interest in sound, speech, and the mechanics of communication. At the age of 16, he started to teach music and speech, which further fueled his passion for these subjects. He also studied at the University of Edinburgh, although he did not complete a degree there. In 1870, shortly after he emigrated to Canada with his family, he began teaching at schools for the deaf. His work in this field laid the groundwork for his inventions, including the telephone. Bell's education was a blend of formal schooling and practical experience in teaching and research related to sound and communication. Alexander Graham Bell's parents were Alexander Melville Bell and Eliza Grace Simmons Bell. Alexander Melville Bell was a prominent linguist and teacher of elocution. He developed a system of visible speech that represented the sounds of spoken language, which influenced Bell's early interest in communication and sound. His father, Melville Bell, was a speech therapist and elocutionist who developed the visible speech system, which aimed to transcribe spoken language into written symbols. Eliza Grace Simmons Bell was an accomplished musician and the daughter of a famous music teacher. She was deaf, which profoundly impacted Bell's interest in acoustics and communication, as he sought to understand and improve how people could communicate. Both of his parents played significant roles in shaping Bell's pursuits and innovations throughout his life. Alexander Graham Bell was married to Mabel Gardiner Hubbard. They met when she was a student in one of his classes for the deaf, as she had lost her hearing at a young age. They developed a close relationship, and Bell proposed to her in 1876. They were married on July 11, 1877. Mabel was a strong supporter of Bell's work and played an important role in his life. The couple had 4 children. 2 daughters, Elsie May Bell from 1878 to 1964, and Marion Hubbard Bell from 1880 to 1962, and 2 sons, Edward Charles Bell and Gilbert Blake Bell. Tragically, both sons died in infancy, while their daughters survived and had families of their own. Bell and Mabel shared a close and loving partnership, and their collaboration extended into both their personal and professional lives until Bell's death in 1922. Bell's children were raised in a supportive environment that emphasized learning and innovation, reflecting their father's commitment to education and advancement. Alexander Graham Bell's invention of the telephone resulted from his deep interest in sound and communication. Here's a brief overview of how he developed the telephone and his other ventures. Invention of the telephone. Research and interests. Bell was fascinated by the mechanics of sound, partly due to his family background. He studied acoustics and worked with the deaf, which influenced his desire to improve communication. Visible speech. Prior to the telephone, Bell developed a system called visible speech, which was used to teach the deaf how to speak. This experience fueled his understanding of sound transmission. The telephone experiment. In 1876, while working on improving current telegraph systems, Bell and his assistant, Thomas Watson, conducted experiments with electrical signals that could replicate sound. On March 10, 1876, Bell famously transmitted the first coherent sentence. "Mr. Watson, come here. I want to see you," patenting the invention. Bell filed a patent for his telephone on February 14, 1876, just hours before Elisha Gray submitted a similar patent. Bell received U.S. patent number 174,465 for his invention. Other ventures. Bell Telephone Company. In 1877, he co-founded the Bell Telephone Company, which grew rapidly and became one of the largest telecommunications companies in the world. Research and development. Beyond the telephone, Bell was involved in various innovations. He worked on photophones, devices for transmitting sound on a beam of light, metal detectors, and improvements in aviation and hydrofoil technology. Education and advocacy. Bell was a strong advocate for the education of the deaf and established schools and programs for the deaf, influencing teaching methods that are still in use today. In his later years, Bell continued to pursue scientific advancement and invented several other devices, including new types of airplanes and research in genetics. Bell's contributions extended far beyond the telephone, significantly impacting communication and various scientific fields. The first telephone invented by Alexander Graham Bell was a simple device that converted sound waves into electrical signals and back into sound. This groundbreaking invention was primarily a rudimentary apparatus that consisted of the following components. The transmitter used a diaphragm, which is a thin membrane that vibrated in response to sound waves like speech. The vibrations caused variations in an electric current flowing through a coil of wire. The receiver contained a similar diaphragm, which responded to changes in the electrical current. As the electrical signal varied, the diaphragm would vibrate, producing sound that could be heard by the listener. Wires and battery. The components were connected by wires and powered by a battery to facilitate the flow of electricity. On March 10, 1876, Bell made the first successful telephone call using this device. He famously spoke to his assistant, Thomas Watson, saying, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you." This event marked the first time that clear speech was transmitted over a wire, leading to the eventual development and widespread use of telephone technology. Alexander Graham Bell received several awards and honors throughout his life in recognition of his contributions to science, communication, and education. Some notable awards and honors include the Volta Prize in 1880. Awarded by the French Academy of Sciences, this prize recognized Bell's invention of the telephone. He used the prize money to establish the Volta Laboratory. The Elliott Cresson Medal in 1913. Presented by the Franklin Institute, this award honored Bell for his significant advancements in communication technology. The Honorary Doctor of Science degree in 1907. Awarded by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, recognizing his contributions to science and technology. The Legion of Honor in 1900. Bell received this prestigious French honor for his contributions to the field of communications. Induction into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. Bell was posthumously inducted as one of the first inductees in recognition of his contributions to invention and innovation. Honorary memberships. Bell received numerous honorary memberships in various scientific and educational organizations, including the National Geographic Society. These awards reflect Bell's lasting impact on communication technology and his influence as an inventor and educator. Also, the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, IEEE, established the Alexander Graham Bell Medal in 1976 to recognize exceptional contributions to engineering, communications, and networking sciences. Alexander Graham Bell's net worth at the time of his passing in 1922, just a few days after his 75th birthday, is estimated to have been around $6 million, which would be equivalent to over $90 million today when adjusted for inflation. But the American telephone and telegraph company AT&T has approximately net worth of $280 billion. Alexander Graham Bell is famously credited with inventing the first practical telephone. And Bell Telephone Company later became AT&T American Telephone and Telegraph Company in 1885. But AT&T was not directly established by Alexander Graham Bell. However, he played a crucial role in its early history. The company traces its roots back to Bell Telephone Company, which was founded in 1877 after Bell patented the telephone in 1876. American Telephone and Telegraph Company AT&T was created in 1885 as a subsidiary of the Bell Telephone Company to provide long-distance telephone service. This wealth primarily stemmed from his successful invention of the telephone and his involvement in various companies and patents related to telecommunications and other technologies. Additionally, Bell was an investor in several ventures and held numerous patents, which contributed to his financial success. Also, Alexander Graham Bell had a keen interest in technology, which extended to automobiles and various vehicles. Notable aspects of his involvement with vehicles include some of the earliest models produced in the United States. He embraced advancements in motorized transportation. Bell conducted extensive research on hydrofoils and was a pioneer in that field. He designed and built hydrofoil boats that could skim across the water at high speeds, one of which was the HD-4, set a world record for speed on water in 1919. Bell's work was not limited to cars, he also experimented with aviation. He founded the Aerial Experiment Association, which worked on the development of early airplanes and flying machines. Alexander Graham Bell made numerous contributions to society, most notably in the fields of telecommunications, education, and science. Invention of the telephone. Bell is best known for inventing the first practical telephone in 1876. This invention revolutionized communication, making it possible for people to communicate over long distances rapidly. Improving communication for the deaf. As the son and husband of deaf individuals, Bell was a passionate advocate for the education of the deaf. He promoted oral communication over sign language, working to improve teaching methods for deaf students. He co-founded the American Association to promote the teaching of speech to the deaf. Support for the Volta Bureau. Bell established the Volta Bureau in Washington, D.C., in 1880, which focused on research and education for the deaf. The Bureau was dedicated to improving the welfare of deaf people and promoting advancements in deaf education. He was an advocate for the rights of the deaf community, raising awareness about their needs and promoting accessibility in education and social services. He founded the Bell School for the Deaf in Boston, which emphasized oral communication techniques, reflecting his belief that deaf individuals could benefit from speech education. Bell's invention and the subsequent patents led to the foundation of the Bell Telephone Company, which eventually became AT&T, one of the largest telecommunications companies in the world. Research in aeronautics and hydrofoils. Beyond telecommunications, Bell was a pioneer in aeronautics. He conducted significant research on flight and designed several early aircraft in hydrofoils, contributing to the future of aviation technology. Encouragement of scientific education and research. Bell was a proponent of scientific education and served as a member of various scientific organizations. He contributed to the advancement of education and the importance of innovation in society. Advocacy for women's education. Bell supported education for women, believing in equal opportunities for both genders. He encouraged educational opportunities at a time when women had limited access to advanced education. Contributions to various technologies. Bell experimented with other technologies, including the photophone, a device for transmitting sound on a beam of light, and was involved in early developments related to radar and other scientific endeavors. Philanthropy through the Bell Trust. After his death, the Bell Trust was established to continue his legacy of supporting contemporary educational initiatives, particularly those relating to deaf education. Promotion of research and innovation. Bell encouraged funding and support for scientific research, which often had implications for public welfare and education. He believed that advancements in science and technology could benefit society at large. Establishment of the National Geographic Society. In 1888, Bell helped to establish the National Geographic Society, which aimed to promote geographic education and exploration. The society has contributed to numerous educational programs and conservation efforts over the years. Bell's innovations and advocacy have had a lasting impact on communication, education and technology, shaping modern society in many profound ways. Through these initiatives, Bell made significant contributions to charitable causes, focusing particularly on education and the enhancement of life for deaf individuals. His work helped lay the groundwork for many of the advances in deaf education and advocacy we see today.
Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave comment and share this video. And please turn on your notification in order to see more of my videos. Thank you for watching.